Hi, listeners. Welcome to another episode of Gathered Glow. I'm so glad that you're tuning in today. Today, I wanted to just dive right in. I feel like sometimes nothing is wrong, but we see things that we're not used to and we think that something's wrong. And when this happens, the instinct is rarely curiosity, it's oftentimes rejection. And so it got me thinking about when I was younger and I used to love walking through Bed Bath & Beyond. And if you remember Bed Bath & Beyond, yeah, RIP big box stores, it always had really cool sections that you could explore and like interact with. Like you could touch the bedding and they had beds out. And my favorite section was like makeup mirrors. They had a bunch of mirrors on a counter, on a display counter. They're all like chrome mirrors with many with like lights around it that you can choose like cool or warm tones. You could flip them usually. Some are round, some are square. They they had such a variety. And so I loved looking in them, right? As a kid that's like sharing a bathroom with brothers, it felt like this is an indulgence. Felt like, oh, when I get one of these in life, this is when I've made it. And I'll be like a woman and it will be really great to sit at a vanity and like put my makeup on and have my own mirror. And so I used to always walk through and daydream about this. And as I did, I realized a couple of things. Some of the mirrors were great. You know, you zoom in a little bit, you put the right lighting on you, some warmth, very forgiving, very soft. You look excellent. And then you get to the magnifying mirrors that shake you up. The 10x mirrors, those are the ones that you lean into once and there's like immediate regret. You think like, why did I do that? What did I just see? The first time I looked into one, I was genuinely shocked. I promise you, as a teen, I was like, I don't have a mustache. What am I seeing? These pores look like I'm looking in like Mars, like craters. This is crazy. It felt aggressive. There was a little bit of disgust, not because anything was wrong, but because it was way too close. My instinct was to reject it. I wanted to blame the mirror. I wanted to look in the ones that like just zoomed in just the right amount. What I saw in the 10x mirror didn't feel like me. I wasn't used to it. I realized that in looking at myself to that degree of magnification, nothing about me had changed. The mirror didn't exaggerate. It didn't invent anything that wasn't there. It didn't lie, couldn't lie. It's a mirror. But it showed me myself at a level of detail that I wasn't ready for. And sometimes mirrors don't show you anything new, but they just magnify what's already there. It can be harsh. It can be harsh to look that close. I know that the problem wasn't the mirror. It was my own readiness. And that's a part I've been sitting with a lot, thinking about this. Because if truth arrives before you're ready, it can feel like an attack. Like if you've ever had a conversation with someone and you're just telling them your truth that you've observed, that's probably a little helpful for them. But if they're not ready, they oftentimes feel attacked, even when it's accurate. So I started thinking about this, and of course, there's like a leadership element to it that I see. There's also a spiritual side. And I feel like there's a level or a layer to this idea with the mirror being uncomfortable for me. I've had moments where I've stepped in front of mirrors and I felt very comfortable, right? I could kind of see the whole And when you see this whole, it's easy to accept. It's easy to understand. And so I've had moments where I feel like, when you experience God at a distance, God's being, in the sky above us, something separate from us, it feels different. It feels like, okay, there's like the zoomed out. I'm looking at God. It's this thing that's kind of distant from me, and so I don't have to look too close. But as my understanding, my feelings on God from my experience feels like God is the collective of everything living, which sounds really beautiful, and it is beautiful until you zoom in. And I think it's in the zoom that starts bringing the discomfort, where you want to say that something is not part of something else, that it is. Because it's easy to idolize things when it's far away, but when you zoom in and you're forced to reckon with the truth, that thing that you think is ugly is also part of the whole. And when you zoom out enough, you see that the whole is beautiful. So even the parts that feel uncomfortable, even the parts that feel ugly, even the parts that you want to look away and you want to look away from, they're all parts of God. The mirror doesn't make moral judgments. The mirror is not telling you something is good or bad. Your perception does that. You label it. Your mind loves to label things. It just reflects. Accuracy is not cruel. It is honest. We're uncomfortable a lot because we don't like when something is too close. I think that when someone triggers you, and I'm going to go ahead and say when events around you trigger you, which they do, like you're a person. It's hard to not be triggered sometimes. But when you start labeling them, when you think that you can isolate them as the problem, that's the problem, and it has nothing to do in any way with you. It gets a little tricky. I don't think that isolating them as the problem is the answer. I don't always think you need to act. Sometimes a mirror is just showing you something in you. It means that you can recognize it. You can see that something exists. You don't have to label it. You can recognize that maybe the discomfort comes from proximity, not from distortion. So, this got me thinking. I love my 1x mirrors, Give me a little bit of a zoom. Give me a little zoom and the right lighting. We don't love to live surrounded by 10x mirrors. Like, imagine if your house had just 10x mirrors all around. That would be crazy. That would be exhausting. It would feel wrong, probably not serve the purpose of wanting to see more of a full picture. But a 10x mirror does serve a different purpose. And I think it's a purpose that we need to be comfortable getting closer to see. In a time where a lot of people are getting very comfortable with filters, with editing photos, with seeing themselves and what they deem to be an enhanced version, a softened version. Mirrors don't do that. They tell you the truth. And I think the more that we get comfortable editing, changing, shifting ourselves away from the truth, the harder it will be to not only connect with ourselves, to see the mirrors and the circumstances and people around us and for us, but to see God as well. Because God doesn't need to live behind filters. The beauty is already there. So discomfort doesn't always mean something is wrong. I also think that, you might need to take a moment and pause when you are looking at something that zoomed in before judging the details. Noticing something without trying to fix it. You don't need to live a 10x life or having 10x mirrors around you. But pretending it doesn't exist won't protect you. It just makes your vision blurry. Noticing what feels magnified this week could be a really good clue of what you feel, why you feel it, and your ability to see not only yourself, but God a little bit more clear. I hope that this resonated and landed. If it did, I would love to hear in the comments your thoughts. Thank you so much for tuning in. I love you, and I will see you next time.